Let's say you're starting from zero and you want to get to $10,000 a month with an AI automation agency. In this video, I'm going to share with you the simplest roadmap that I know that actually works to get you there. So why $10,000? Well, $10,000 is the first target that sets you in a position where you can be making $100,000 a year profit. That is, at the initial stage of $10,000 a month, you're probably going to be running, 80–85% net profit margins, and $100,000 is a really nice round number. It's also a number that pushes you from mentally playing small to mentally going, cool, I've got a decent amount of money running through my business right now. Now, I've always found on my journey, round numbers are great goals. So for me, the first number was 10,000, and then it was 20,000, then 30, 50, 100, 150, so on and so forth. And I always found that rounding by 10,000 is a really great way to actually motivate myself. So what does $10,000 a month actually look like to someone who's never done it before? Well, if you have a client on a retainer that's paying $1,000 a month, that's 10 clients. Pretty simple math. Now, the reality is you'll probably have different clients at different price points. For example, at my stage of business, I just completed the 20K 90-day challenge with 2 clients. Way different outcome to what I was planning. I was planning on having about 7 clients at about $3,000 a month each. In the beginning phases, what you'll find yourself doing is doing some project work, some retainer work. So you'll probably, the first time you hit 10K a month, for me, actually, let me share this. The first time I hit 10K a month, I had one $4,000 a month project, $4,000 project, sorry. And I had, I think it was 8 retainers. Now the retainers were between $700 and $1,200, and that kind of rounded out the $10,000. So the reality is, as a rule of thumb, you get 10 clients at $1,000 a month, there's your $10,000 a month. And $10,000 a month is also a really key point because it's when you start shifting your mindset from being a freelancer to being an agency owner. You see, you can go from $0 to $5,000 as a freelancer, which is you're basically just doing any tasks anyone asks you to do. You're a jack of all trades, and you just kind of come at it from that perspective. Where to take that jump from $5,000 to $10,000, you need to start thinking as an agency owner, which means you need to start thinking of systems that scale a little bit. So it could be cold outreach on LinkedIn. You're gonna go, cool, I've got to make sure that you do 20 outreaches a day, as an example. You've got to be doing warm outreach to 5 people a day in your network. You've got to be really setting up sort of 3 to 5 meetings a week in order to sign clients to scale to that level. So you start shifting your mindset from I'll take whatever comes up to I'm going to control my lead flow. Now, step 2 is to choose one offer and one niche. One of the big mistakes I see people make at the beginning is they try and sell 10 different things because they can. On YouTube, there is an end template for everything. Whether you want to do cold email, social media automation, LinkedIn outreach, Instagram outreach, you want to automate the back end of a roofing company, you want to automate invoicing for a finance company, there's templates for everything. The challenge here is it makes it really hard to sell one thing. When you're beginning, pick one industry and one service. And you want to be picking this based on something that has a clear money pain point. That is, it is directly costing the business money, either in opportunity cost or in hard outlaid cost. As an example, one of the services that are a part of my kind of core 5 services is a database reactivation campaign where we take their leads that are sitting there dormant and we essentially extract value from them. So this is an asset that was in their business. They weren't doing anything with it. And we can usually generate anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 worth of revenue out of that. And we take a cut of it. Now, with this sort of service, it's a very clear pain point. Another great service is something like appointment setting. You use AI to do outreach or to book appointments, to run chatbots or voice AI on the website, whatever it is, to book appointments so there's a clear monetary upside. Offers that have a clear monetary upside are very easy to sell in comparison to offers that streamline operations. Step number 3 is to build a simple offer. So the way you want to structure your promise is you want 3 parts. You want the promise, you want the timeline, and you want the price. So the promise is I will book you 20 appointments in 30 days for $2,000 or it's free. I'll reactivate your database and we'll bring you at least 20 paying customers. And if I do, you give me 20% of the upside. So there's different ways of structuring this, but essentially it is a promise, it is a timeline and a price. Now, as far as marketing this, you can set up a website if you want to. I'm a fan of having at least a 1-page website. Tools like Lovable, Claude Code, all these no-code tools make it so easy to build websites now. There's really no reason not to. A 1-page website with a meeting booking button, a quick, rundown of what the service is, and then an email at that company domain. All up will cost you about $20, and you'll really be able to actually look professional. Now, if you don't have $20, you can do it in a Google Doc. You know, I've actually purchased things for $7,000 to $10,000 based on a sales letter in a Google document that was shared with me. Now, if you're unfamiliar what a sales letter is the original sales in print. You know, before those sales videos, before those webinars, those sales letters that were physically mailed to people. You can do the same thing in a Google document and just share it with them. And it will actually explain the service. It will provide, you know, what it is, the emotional pain points, the logical pain points, and then your offer at the end of it. And it does a really good job of giving them a recap where if you're just starting out, you may not be that comfortable when you're actually selling to people. So you may miss features, you may miss benefits, you may, misword your guarantee in there. So one of these two things really valuable. Personally, I recommend using both. At this point in my career, I've got my main website. I've then got specific landing pages that the public can usually never find. And then I actually do run sales collateral. But for 0 to 10K, one or the other, and you're golden. Now, the last thing you want to do on here is you want to show as much proof as possible. That is, if you are, let's say, using one of the templates that I provide, and you white label one of my case studies, use that white labeled case study. If you are, pulling something off of YouTube, use their case studies. If you're using a arbitrage play on a SaaS service, use some of their case studies and testimonials, and just word it in a way, and double check with a lawyer or ChatGPT or however you want to structure things, to go, hey, how do I frame this to give me the clout without giving me liability of misrepresentation? There's usually a way to word it as such. Now, it's time to get the rubber to meet the road, and this is with your daily pipeline. And this really comes down to a routine. Now, some people like doing this first thing in the morning, some people late at night, some people in the middle of the day. Find the rhythm that suits you. Ultimately, when you're starting out, this is all that matters, is getting sales appointments booked and closing sales appointments. That's the only two things that matter. Now, what you're gonna do, first thing you're gonna do is gonna reach out to your warm audience. Your warm audience, that is people who know you, not necessarily a social media following, but it can be your brother, your mother, your father, the guy down the street, the guy at the gym, like anyone you've ever spoken with, someone you went to college with, someone you went to high school with. If you're 16 years old, it's the guy, your soccer coach. Like, all these people know someone and they all want to help someone starting out. One of the biggest misconceptions that I had for a very long time is that people didn't want to see me succeed. Where the truth is, everyone wants to help people. It's the core of human nature. Now, if you catch them in a bad mood, it might be different, but the core is most people want to help. So what's this look like? When you begin, you want to be doing at least 5 warm outreaches a day with a simple message like, hey, it's been a while, just want to touch base. I'm doing this now. And then you put your offer in there, or your promise. Hey, I'm now helping, car wrap shops, or I'm now helping businesses to get more Google reviews. I'm helping businesses to reactivate their dead database and turn it into sales. I'm helping B2B businesses to, generate email appointments. Do you know anyone with one of these sort of businesses that I can have a quick chat with? It's that simple. That's a warm outreach. Then you're gonna go into your cold outreach. So after you've exhausted your entire warm network, you're then gonna go cold. And your cold, initially start on LinkedIn and also start in community groups of the industry you're targeting. So LinkedIn's got community groups, Facebook's got community groups, school's got community groups. All these things have community groups, and start reaching out. You wanna be sending 20 to 30 messages a day, and you do that consistently, you'll actually book sales. Now, when you first start your cold outreach, I would first start with what I call a Dream 100 campaign. That is, set a targeted list of 100 people that you want to actually work with. And from that, you want to find their LinkedIn, their website, everything. And you want to contact them in multiple different ways. So email, you want to send them LinkedIn messages, see if you can find the phone number, call them. You do that for 100 people and you do 12 touch points on each of those people or companies, you're going to get clients from it. And then you want to be tracking all this in a spreadsheet, because ultimately the number of inputs you get is great, but you really want to be tracking the output from it. Now, you cannot get an output without an input. So you can't say, I convert at 80%, but you're not putting any volume in. You need to do both. And tracking it in a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet is really, really important. So that way you know what is and isn't working. And now the 5th step, once you've closed some deals, once you've got your first clients, you need to deliver absolutely extraordinary and totally unreasonable results. Because these people, these first clients are the guys who believed in you. And these are the guys who you deliver extraordinary results, will become referral sources, but more importantly, will actually become case studies. And these case studies actually become a part of your sales collateral. So how do you do this? Well, firstly, you want to over communicate and you want to be transparent. That is, if you are going to communicate with a client on average, let's say once a week, with these first clients, communicate them daily. Send them a quick update with where you're at with things. And the first week of a new client is where that trust is either built or shattered. So over communicating and being transparent with any problems that arise or any timeline shifts that arise is absolutely crucial to building trust. And then you want to document everything, document all your processes, the wins, every metric you can get your hands on, and turn that into a case study that supports your claim. And that is now your sales asset you're going to use for all your outreach, put on your website, send to people after a phone call, everything. That becomes your main sales Bible. And then when you hit $10,000, what's next? Well, $10,000 is a really interesting point because you need to decide whether you're going to stabilize at $10,000 and run a really chill lifestyle business and just make, probably $90,000 to $100,000 a year of income. And once you stabilize it, you can probably do that in 2 to 3 hours a day. Or do you want to scale? And each path has its own unique perspectives. And one of this is, where do you put the money? So I always recommend to people when they're starting an agency, keep your day job for as long as possible. If you don't have a day job, if you need money immediately, get a day job. Cannot state enough how important it is to have the relaxation of knowing you've got your rent covered and food on the table, and how that then enables you to actually grow a business properly. And if you're young, living at home, great. Don't blow the money. You want to be banking this money for the first few months to reinvest into your team, into tools, into marketing. And if you just keep blowing the money on lifestyle choices and on lifestyle creep, it makes it very difficult to grow a proper sustainable business. That is how I would go from $0 to $10,000 if I was starting from scratch. These are the steps that I actually used in my $20,000 a month challenge in 90 days. And these are the steps that got me those 2 clients that are actually paying the $20,000 a month. Now, for the average beginner, without the confidence that I have and without the experience that I have, closing deals of that magnitude is very difficult. However, if you follow this framework, getting 10 clients to pay you $1,000 a month is very, very achievable. And one of the last bit of advice here, obviously if someone's going to pay you $10,000, take it, take the money. And I wouldn't build your entire business model on just $10,000 a month clients, because if you've got 3 $10,000 a month clients, yes, you're at $30,000 a month. But if one of them drops off, you've just lost 1/3 of your income. I always recommend to people to have a core base of about 20 clients that pay anywhere from $700 to $2,000 a month. That builds a nice sustainable cash flow. And then you can stack your whales on top to actually have that free cash. So the core base has all your overheads covered, it's got your living costs covered, everything else. And everything above that actually becomes the profits you can invest into real estate or into whatever you want to do with your life. So guys, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, drop them below. I will be dropping another video very soon about how to go from $10,000 to $30,000. I'll link it in the description. So if you're on this journey and you want to know what it looks like to get to $30,000, which is the next major milestone where things start shifting again, then check that video out. Have a fantastic day. I'm grateful to be able to help you, and I'll see you next time.